Hello and welcome back to the Garment Decorators podcast, live from the Styles Innovation Centre in Braintree in Essex. I'm joined by Molly today,
Hello.
As always, and today we're very delighted to be joined by Carys Evans from Print Monthly and Signlink. So welcome aboard the podcast, Carys.
Thank you very much. First time on the podcast.
I know, first time on a podcast.
Oh really?
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't know that.
That surprises me.
Weird being on this side of the interviewing.
So last time you were here, you were interviewing Andy at our event.
Yeah.
And there was loads of people here, so it's nice and calm and quiet.
Yeah.
It's very quiet in here today.
Yeah, so could you tell us a little bit, for those that are unaware of Print Monthly and Signlink, could you just give us a quick version of what sort of things you cover in those magazines and the topics that your readers and watchers are interested in?
Yeah, sure. So as you said, we do Print Monthly and Signlink magazine. So they're two bi-monthly magazines, go up to about 10,000 kind of people, readers. We've got our online website that we update with kind of more regular news, and then the longer form stuff goes into the mags and then online afterwards. We do the kind of video side of things as well. So we go and filmed you a couple of times now. So in terms of kind of what we cover, there's a lot more overlap these days, which I think is just a bit of a reflection of the industry in general. But on the Print Monthly side, traditionally we cover everything from the kind of small format, direct mail, packaging, kind of embellishments, all the way up to garment printing, wide format, that sort of thing. And then on the Signlink side of things, again, it's a massive range, going from the traditional kind of sign writing, sign painting, to kind of window and floor graphics, building wraps, car, vehicle wrapping.
Everything really.
Literally anything to do with print, graphics, signage, anything like that we cover in one of the two magazines.
Oh, cool.
So yeah, we have quite a few people tend to get both of them because they offer print and signage, and you find the smaller signage people start off doing more traditional stuff and then they move into the kind of printed side and the graphics and that sort of thing. So it's a massive variety. Really.
That makes sense though. I can assume if you're doing one thing, it's easier to transition into something else rather than, it's not like a whole new industry, like it's a bit different, but it's a similar process.
It's similar kind of skills, and kind of it's just tweaking maybe your software or your design or the materials that you use. I think that's tends to be the kind of learning curve, is just getting to grips with different materials and how they work differently to things that you're used to. But I think that's a big thing that we're seeing now is coming out of COVID. People had to diversify and they had to kind of overnight do a different direction and tweak what they were doing. And I think the fact that so many people did do that shows that there's so many other areas of the industry that you can move into. So and
that's one of the reasons we wanted to get you on today, is because we know that there's some crossover between what we talk about. There should be a lot more crossover because, as you mentioned, the hardest thing I think is the artworking side of things. Everything else you can cut is quite transferable. So anyone that's doing heat printing should really be doing the signage for their customers and doing the artwork, and vice versa. Anyone that's doing vehicle wrapping or doing any kind of signage should also be offering those same customers t-shirts, hoodies, the whole workwear kit, because the easiest way to grow your business is to grow the business of your existing customers. So that's why I really wanted to get you on today, just to kind of talk about the sign industry a little bit, what's going on with it, and just kind of demystify a little bit, and get people thinking about just what other avenues there are, because even some of the machines are transferable. So literally the same machine is in both industries, but it's a case of changing which media you put into it. Do you put either one, it's a printing cut or single color vinyl in this either self-adhesive or one that has heat applicable adhesive on the back of it? That's the main difference. If you can get the artwork in, the weeding is exactly the same. The limitations of it both ways. But all you need is a heat press if you're a sign maker, and if you're a heat presser, you to get in the right media. So it's simple for everyone to get involved. But we also know that yourself and the team at Print Monthly and Signlink are big on education as well, and you're always trying to find new education topics for your readers. So that's why we're really excited to have you on today. And you can feel free to pepper us with the questions as well.
I'm sure
have a good
I will.
conversation.
Even if I don't mean to.
So just as a kind of like a little taster for everyone that's relatively new to perhaps yourself, is what are kind of trending topics that have been in the Print Monthly and Signlink magazines over the last few issues?
I think a lot of the things that I'm seeing is kind of to do with the way that businesses are kind of operating a bit more than like applications and stuff, because the application side of things kind of changes all the time, and with people like diversifying so much, people are kind of adding stuff to their offering and doing new things all the time. But one of the things that I've kind of noticed in recent months is kind of the focus within on, I mean, sustainability is obviously a massive thing. We hear about it all the time, but I think it's becoming more now about like how you're actually implementing those sustainability things within your business, in terms of, like looking at different materials, like the recycling streams, because there's obviously quite a lot of waste produced with graphics and that sort of thing. And so there's companies that are really working to improve those things. There's initiatives going on like Reconomy, like taking back waste and disposing of it properly. Lots of companies kind of looking at their carbon as well, their carbon output. There's a couple of initiatives again, like Print Relief and Carbon Quota, that help people to manage their carbon and offset it. So that's big at the moment. Because I guess with print and sign, there's a lot of materials involved. And those then have to go somewhere afterwards. And I think with any kind of graphics or even clothing, you don't wear something forever for the rest of your life. So I think a lot of companies are like looking into what happens after the graphics have been used. That's definitely a big one. And then the other thing is kind of like diversity and inclusivity and inclusion. We've had a couple of guest articles on that topic. So just kind of raising awareness of like trying to get more diversity into the industry and how that can then benefit businesses and make them thrive. You've got a diverse team, you've got a diverse kind of perspectives coming in and that sort of thing. And then I would say kind of like well-being. I was saying to you earlier, there's been a big focus and shift on like well-being and how people are talking a lot more about how they look after their mental health and their well-being. And there's kind of, we're hearing more about champions within companies. Like there's a company, a Honeycomb Paperboard company, who has different champions for different areas within the business. So we're seeing that more and more. And then I guess more in terms of production, automation, that's a massive thing. And then there's the whole AI topic at the moment as well. Everyone's not quite sure how they feel about that. So there's loads going on at the moment, really.
Well, I think that's good. It's good to know that at least on every level, it's all about pushing forwards really and trying to, make a better tomorrow or figure out problems. I think that's the, going back to what you mentioned about COVID and the company, we find that in our industry as well, is that the companies that were the most adaptable in that period of time are the ones that are now the most successful. The ones that didn't adapt at all, some of them are not even here, or they're kind of on the, they could go either way over the next 12 months really. So anything to kind of, we always talk about trying to disrupt yourself, taking a step back and thinking, does that make sense? Why aren't we doing it like this? Why aren't we getting new voices into the building, being more diverse, or like say, trying to be more sustainable? It's because that's what your customers want. And you might not find out sometimes until it's too late and you miss that order because you're not hitting those standards. You've got to kind of get ahead of the curve and like say, disrupt yourself, try and be, like say automation or just efficiency. Efficiency is something we talk about a lot because we notice it with customers when they set up their workspace and then they don't really think about how it flows through the building. You've got to make sure that it goes in a straight line as much as possible. You're not going back, forth.
I think that's something that people used the kind of COVID period to do as well. We heard a lot about that. I guess, like you said, there's some companies that kind of thought this is it. Now there's nothing we can do. And then there's other companies that actually took a step back and thought, okay, this is bad. How can we kind of use this situation to the best of our ability? And I think there are quite a lot of companies that, you know, they had an empty manufacturing facility because nobody could go in there. So then they looked at how they could rearrange the kind of setup to make it more efficient, which they'd never have the opportunity to do ever normally. So that's definitely, a big thing that we've seen. And now they're kind of operating even better than they were before. And then the thing with sustainability as well, lots of kind of end users and customers are looking specifically for the companies that are offering the eco-friendly materials and, you know, are sustainable within their own business. And I think, like you said, that's what's going to get you the business over maybe a competitor, even if now the prices for, you know, eco-friendly materials are a little bit more. But if that means that you're then going to go and win that tender or the job, it's worth paying that little bit extra for the sustainable materials.
We find that quite a lot as well, actually, because we have one of our newest products is what we call Ultracolor, which we brought out a few years ago, and I'm sure everyone's heard us talk about it a lot here. But
you say new, it feels like it
is a long time ago.
So long.
But it's only about 3 years, something like that.
Still a baby.
But a lot of people, you know, when we, you know, one of the kind of like a couple of big aspects. One is it's water-based inks, which is obviously more eco-friendly. And it also fuses at a lower temperature. So traditionally, stuff fuses about 150 degrees, somewhere at 150, 160, give or take. But this one fuses at 120 degrees, so it fuses a lot lower. So it actually draws a lot less electricity. So it kind of, in every single aspect of where it's being used in the building, it's kind of like everyone's got, oh, I could use that. Even stuff to the point now where even we find that even single color stuff, they're like, well, actually, I'd much rather use the water-based ink product, and I'd much rather use the one that fuses at a lower temperature because it's going to be better for the building I'm in and the environment I'm in. And we find that actually, like that's now the biggest selling product that we have. And like I say, even for single color stuff, they're like, yeah, I just want that. Or my customers ask me to use water-based inks for the decoration on there because, especially if it's a brand, it's a really hot topic at that point.
Everyone wins in a way because you're offering a better solution for the environment. But then you can look good because you're shouting about the fact that you're doing this eco solution, but then they're winning because they're kind of, you know, it's just minimizing the impact for everyone involved. So
and also you talk about turnaround times with like, or paying more for sustainable options, but if you have rearranged your work facility, like you just said, you can people will accept the slightly higher price points if your turnaround is quicker, and if your workforce is a lot more efficient, that kind of comes together. And like you say, we do 2-day turnaround on everything anyway, so you can have orders sort of done within 2-3 days and shipped out, and that's enough to warrant a premium cost anyway.
Do you reckon, how quick do you reckon it's going to get? Because everyone is just offering quicker and quicker kind of turnaround.
Our DTF, our Ultracolor Max DTF is next day dispatch, a pretty quick turnaround. But I mean, I guess,
we've had it before because you can order, if you order by midnight and then we'll manufacture it the following day. But chances are it's been manufactured by 4 o'clock at the latest. So some people are like, can I come in at 5? So it kind of is a same day turnaround, or you could send a courier, like a bike courier, come pick it up and bring it back to you the same day. So, I mean, it kind of more or less is same day for some customers. I mean, it's because we're in Essex, there's lots of transfer fusers and people have their own business. So they're like, you know, some customers come in twice a day because they're like, yeah, when it's ready, I'm coming in, I'm picking up and I'm getting to work on it. Because they're like, I've got to.
Not wasting no time.
They're not wasting any time. You know, they're like, yeah, there's what's next. So, I mean, it's pretty quick already. I think it helps for us that we have a very efficient ordering system, which is probably where we're quite unique, is that you can just literally go on 24 hours a day and it takes like 2 minutes. Like, it's no different to putting a picture on a birthday card and getting someone sent to it. It's that easy. But, you know, I think it's in every kind of continent that we have, it's like a lot of stuff is 1 day turnaround now. Mostly because I think a lot of people are quite last minute. It's not always the end customer that's driving it. Sometimes like, well, if someone gives you a week to do something, it normally takes a week to do something.
100%. You need the pressure.
Yes, I think that's
like me, I need the
so.
pressure.
So we're always like, let's just do it as quick as possible
Yeah.
because we know that people are always going to want that anyway. So
also, people are so used to it now. Like you can order stuff, like you were saying, next day, same day, and that's just the world we live in now. So
Yeah.
I think if you're not
Definitely.
doing that, you're falling behind it already.
Yeah.
I think it's quite hard though, because something that we hear a lot, it's like getting that balance, I think, because obviously you want to offer as quick a turnaround as you possibly can for that reason. But then I think there's a bit of education that goes into sometimes what actually goes into producing these products too. Because I think what people don't realize is how many like steps to the process there is, and you don't want to like compromise on quality. So you don't want to be like chucking stuff out without having the time to actually check it. So I think that's like education, big thing about what you guys do. I think lots of print companies find that too. They're having to kind of make sure they're really nailing down that customer service element of their business.
And quality control.
Exactly, because I guess once that starts to slip, there's no point doing the quick turnarounds because people will go elsewhere anyway. So
exactly, I think that's and that's why we, like with our ordering system, we try and build as many of those flight checks into the system, because that's normally the biggest thing is, someone's like, I need it tomorrow, and like, okay, well, we can order till midnight, and then they order it like 11:30 at night, and they put up a terrible like 100 DPI PNG graphic, and they're like, wonder why we refuse to print it because it's going to look terrible. But then likewise, we have so many checks all the way through, or like quality control, so we're like multiple people working quality control, so that we like everything's like literally under a magnifying glass. So there's no mistakes. We try and help the customer from making mistakes at the beginning. So if someone looks weird with the artwork, like quick as possible, like, are you sure it's meant to look like that? There's some really weird colors coming through on it. Sometimes you have to be a bit like, I guess it could be a design choice.
You never know.
It's a hard. I wouldn't want to have to be the studio that asks someone if they meant to do that, and they're like, yes. But it takes a long time to get to that point of having that quality control. And we're quite fortunate that we have the same processes and same transfers replicated across every single continent. So it means that we can kind of like drill that process and make sure we have continuity. But it also means that we have an R&D department, so that all those sort of mistakes that could happen in testing before they even get introduced as a transfer technology that way as well.
Yeah, that's good.
It makes life a lot easier for us.
It does, yes, and the team out the back.
So what I'm kind of curious about is for anyone that's listening, that they've got a heat press, they've got a cutting machine or printing cut machine, and they're thinking, do you know what? I should offer some signage and some more print stuff. But is there anywhere that someone can go, or some tips that you might have for someone that's thinking about getting into the print or signage industry?
Well, there's like we've said already, there's definitely a lot of kind of avenues that you can look at, that you can like move into easily, I guess. From a kind of editorial point of view, I would just say read as much trade news as you can, because I guess we cover a lot of case studies, we cover a lot of kind of success stories, and a lot of people are diversifying at the moment. So if you look in kind of, I don't know, like the business section of any of the trade publications or the wide format, sometimes, you'll see companies. There was a person that started out doing like just little stickers during COVID, and now he's grown his business to make wall coverings and stickers for like children's bedrooms and stuff. So he started out making these little just stickers, and then he's kind of invested in a Momaki, piece of kit, and it's enabled him to then start doing wall stickers and stuff like that. So I think just have a look and read up on what other people are doing, because I think that's the best way to see like what is possible. And a lot of the manufacturers will have the case studies on their website. Most of them have got kind of news sections on their site. So I would say just keep your eyes peeled to see what other people are doing and get inspiration from that. Like there's nothing wrong with, doing that. You've got to get inspiration from somewhere.
Yeah, there's a lot out there as well, isn't there? Like you said, a lot of opportunities. So unless you know exactly what you want to do, and you can go directly into like, I don't know, researching different machines that you could get.
Exactly.
You kind of need those ideas, don't you? It's a bit like what we do on YouTube as well. Like some people might come and go, oh, I really want to do this, and we'll go, well, if you thought about this industry, or if you're doing that, you could add this on, and they go, oh yeah, it's similar sort of thing.
Exactly. And I think, yeah, like you said, I think like looking at what kit you want to get is like that kind of further down the line. It's quite far down the line actually. But I guess if you go to kind of the trade shows and stuff, all the manufacturers are there, and their aim is literally to show you what all the different things that the kit can do and the different areas of print and signage that they can cover. So there's so much stuff you can do. There's like, you know, 3D printing, direct to object, you can print onto mugs, you can print onto like all sorts of weird, wacky things. Like there's Canon kit that can print like straight onto like frisbees and skateboards and stuff. So like, it's like you said, there's so much you can do. Sometimes it can be a bit overwhelming and it's hard to know. And I guess our job is to show what everyone's doing and to kind of follow the trends and stuff. So that would probably be my number one tip.
Just to immerse yourself in it, basically.
Yeah, just have a look and see what's out there and see what kind of takes your fancy. But like you said, if you're kind of doing, say, like workwear, I know you've got a talk coming up on branding.
I do.
Say you're doing like workwear or, you know, rollouts of pieces of clothing or kit or whatever, that company is going to need graphics for its fleet of vehicles. So say you're offering their kind of work clothes, you could talk to them about maybe offering them their vehicle graphics, or, you know, their branded. If you're doing graphics and signage, why not offer them their business cards or, you know, their posters or their promotional print and stuff. There's so many ways that you can look at what's this company or, you know, organization, what do they need to promote themselves, and all of it is linked to print, which you realize when you're in the print industry, everything is print. So I guess it's just being a bit clever and, you know, having that kind of curious mindset of looking at thinking outside the box. Don't just pigeonhole yourself into, you know, we just make stickers and that's it. Like there's so much other stuff that you can do, but you've just kind of got to have that mindset of keeping your eye out and seeing what is out there, I guess.
It's one of the hardest things is getting your foot in the door to have that conversation with the customer anyway. So once you're there, either if you're there in person or even if you're doing like a video call or something, it's like scan the room and like, what have they got in this room that has a logo on it? And like chances are you could figure out how to do it.
Yeah, exactly. And once you're in with them as well, like once they trust you, they will give you the business because they know that you can produce something of decent quality, you know, the price is right, turnaround, etc. Yeah, exactly.
Which does go a long way.
Building that relationship, that makes a massive difference. It's like you say, it's getting your foot in the door initially, impressing them and getting that first job, and then you can expand from there.
Or even, you know, if you know some, because chances are that every person that's listening that's a garment decorator or even a sign maker, chances are there's the opposite company is within a mile of them. Like even if like the best option is actually just to partner together. Like, look, you get every time we get a customer, I'll do the garments, you do the signage, and vice versa.
So many companies are starting to do that now. Like that's something that I'm seeing a lot more, like the collaboration side of things. Like, and I love that because I'm all for like everyone working together and getting on and that sort of thing. But it just makes sense business wise because, you know, it's like that thing about being like a jack of all trades, master of none. It's like sometimes there is going to be somebody else that does do that better because they've been doing it for ages. That's their bag. And you might have something that you do really well. So it's like there's nothing wrong with utilizing other people's skills and vice versa, as long as it, you know, works both ways. And there are companies in the industry who are like all for that kind of collaboration and, you know, will help you out. And you hear so much like during COVID, companies were like, oh no, we've lost all our business overnight. But another company their like orders were going through the roof because they were doing something that was essential. And they knew that company down the road had the kit to do the extra volume. And they'll give them a ring and be like, can you help me out? And obviously everybody wins again then because they're getting business. They don't have to say no to a customer. So that's a big thing as well. And, you know, that could be another way to get into another avenue. You know, if there's a company that can't quite manage its demand, you could then maybe you've got the kit already, or, you know, you can add that extra offering. So there's so many ways to add new things to your business, I think. And there's a lot of trade printers and trade companies as well who specifically do printing for trade printers, you know, so there's always those companies that you can turn to if you need to.
And you're doubling your business either way. Like both companies will effectively double their business if you're getting orders from other people.
Exactly.
So
yeah, exactly.
Win-win all round.
Yeah, and you don't have to say no, which is what no business wants to do.
Exactly. Yeah. You want to be able to say yes to every single job.
Yeah, exactly.
So I know that obviously with, there's lots of stuff, there's lots of good stuff for new people starting out with, and obviously we both have a similar focus in terms of we want to help our either existing readers or for us it's our existing customers, because we see lots of people making mistakes and we want to kind of add value and help them. So I was kind of really curious as to, because obviously one of the reasons we invite you in is that there's a lot of really good journalism that goes into Print Monthly and Signlink magazine, but how do you choose what to write about and where to start with that? What's the kind of the process of being the editor of a print magazine?
Yeah, I think one of the first things is like just that constant feeling that you're never going to be able to cover everything you want to cover, and just accepting that it's just not physically possible to write about everything you want to write about, which is something that I have to kind of remind myself quite a lot. But I don't know, we just get a lot of press releases through every day. We constantly got a stream of press releases coming through. So I guess it's just looking at the stuff that's coming in, seeing what companies are doing, trying to have as much variety as possible, trying to make sure that we're covering, all the different areas. Like I said, we have so many different areas of the industry that we cover. So like the magazine is separated into sections. So we've got like industry, business, people, kit, environment, events. So that kind of helps. We categorize everything that comes in. And then I guess it's just looking at the time sensitive ones. So if there's events coming up or something really big has happened in the industry, like there's been a big, merger or acquisition, or, companies have unfortunately had to close or that sort of thing. We try to cover those just because it's of general interest to the industry. And I guess like when you train in journalism, you get taught about newsworthiness, and you've got to try and, use your judgment to think what are people going to be interested in, which is quite hard because you're literally trying to read people's minds that you don't know what people want to read about. So yeah, just keeping that variety. And then I guess something that we try to do specifically with us is just looking at the kind of bigger picture of like the trends, like I said, like well-being, that sort of thing. And we get a lot of people to write in, like experts in different topics, because like it's impossible to be an expert on everything, and you've got to draw on the experts within the industry that have been doing their kind of area of print for years and years and years. And we're fortunate that there's so many technical experts that you can kind of rely on. So we do quite a lot of question and answers in the magazine and stuff like that. And then something else that we like to do is try and go out and get kind of behind the doors of as many businesses as we can. Because I guess it's kind of like I was saying before about educating on what goes into being a business, because you don't always know like what goes into producing the products that people are making. So yeah, we try and do as many visits as possible. We've got a couple next week. We had one on Tuesday. So it's good to be out on the road because you actually get to kind of familiarize ourselves with the technologies and stuff. Like I've literally been grilling you all morning about the stuff that you guys do, because there's one thing reading about it in a press release and trying to then relay it to other people, but there's something else about being able to go and like feel the print and see it actually coming out of the press and understanding all the different steps that go into it, which then helps us to produce better content. So
that was going to be my point, is that I really struggle with retaining information if I don't understand it. The second something clicks in my head and I go, oh, I get that, it will majority of the time stay in my head. Whereas if I don't understand something, you try and get me to explain it back to you. No hope whatsoever.
100%. I think that's again why like the industry events are so helpful for us, because it's an opportunity to see all the different kit in one place and understand, like why that's different to another one. Because sometimes when, you get press releases through, they've launched a new piece of kit and there's all the specs there and it's like, this is this fast and that sort of thing. And, you don't really actually understand why that's a good thing or why that's better than what it was before. And then when you go to like the events and there's experts literally there, and like not being afraid to kind of ask the questions if you don't know, like, you know, that's something I've had to learn coming into this industry, learning so much so fast, is unless you kind of ask the questions and don't be afraid of sounding stupid or silly or like you don't know what you're on about, you're not going to ever learn. So I think that's something that I do. I go to events, I just, you know, grill everybody and try and understand as much as I can. So yeah, that's why the events are really handy. Like Hunkler Innovation Days in Switzerland, I'd never been to that before. Went this year for the first time, and that was there was so many like click moments where I saw things like coming out, and I was like, oh, that's why that's called that. Or, you know, like a saddle stitcher for like booklets, it literally goes along like that, and it looks like it's on a saddle and it gets stitched together. So it's like there's reasons why, and once you understand it, it makes so much sense. But when it's just written down, it's not as easy to kind of grasp it, I think. So
how many of your customer visits do you actually film? Because you have quite a few of them on your YouTube, like you interview different, I don't know, the director or the manager of the company that you're at. I take it that goes down well with your customers because it's a slightly different insight rather than just sort of reading it as well.
100%, yeah. I think like people are just naturally curious, I think, and people like to see like the people behind a business. And I guess a good thing about us being able to go and visit companies is you're kind of giving other people access to a place that they maybe wouldn't be able to go themselves. And, you know, just curiosity, you can see behind like the doors of what goes on. But yeah, we try to film as any that they'll let us. And I think a lot of companies are really happy and keen to have us to come and film because they're proud to show what they're doing. And, you know, it gives them a chance to tell their story. And, you know, a lot of them have been going for like decades, like, and there a lot of them are like family businesses. There's some that have been in the family for like 4 generations. So that's always nice. I think it's just giving them a platform to kind of tell their story. And I think as well, it's just an opportunity for us to showcase the different areas of the industry
and how they differ.
Yeah, exactly. And yeah, I don't know, David, our online editor, he did a filmmaking degree, so he's really techie with the cameras and stuff. So he's always really good to go out with because I'm like the chatty one and I'll ask all the questions and then Dave will make everything look good. So we're a good team in that sense. But yeah, I don't know. I think it's just offering something extra to the magazine. I think people value that a lot because they love having their stuff in the mag. But I think, you know, then also being able to do a video interview as well. It's just an extra dynamic. They can share it on their socials and stuff and put it on their website if they want to and stuff like that. So
yeah, and it's a bit more frequent, I suppose, as well, rather than like you say, magazines bi-monthly.
Yeah, we've gone bi-monthly this year.
So which is great. That's still better than once a year, but it's nice to have that like weekly or bi-weekly upload of a video to just sort of keep in touch with your readers as well, rather than having to wait for the magazine to come out 100%. As well.
And I think what it also enables us to do is more multimedia news stories online. So, you know, like we could do an interview and transcribe it and write it up, and in the magazine that's fine because people want to sit down and they want to like have a flick through and read it and stuff. Whereas online people have much less time. Usually you're on your lunch break, you're on your phone and you're just having a little browse of what's going on in the industry. So I think being able to do a video as well, we can embed it into the news article and you can kind of combine the quotes with the person actually just explaining it themselves. And I think it's just easier to digest. It's nice to have the different options available for whatever people fancy watching, you know. So yeah, it just adds a bit of variety.
I find as well, I kind of find if someone's talking enthusiastically about something, I tend to find them more credible as well. Like, so actually having that video in combination with it, you're like, yeah, I'm interested in this subject now that this person's engaged with me and talking about it in an enthusiastic manner. It really helps, I think, with all the like the you know, going around. You did like a few wrap ups with Vespa, and it was really nice to see everyone there. And like, yeah, really excited about what they're doing. Was you met Ben from our master distributor, who's full of beans as well. But it's just nicer to have a bit of everything. But you know, because it's but we always say it's always about embracing that side of things. So actually, this is what, for instance, it's print for you or it's garment decorating for us. But people have chosen this as their career path or their life choice, that, let's lean into the fact that there's lots of detail in this, and it's not kind of, it's good to go niche sometimes and really get into the detail of it.
And I think as well, like the video side, it really enables us to kind of demonstrate better the actual products, the output, because we did a trip the other day and they were explaining about embellishment, and they made a comment like it's impossible to show this on a picture, on a photo. It's like, unless, the best case scenario is seeing it and feeling it and being able to like move it in person, but that's not always possible. So then the second next best thing is film. So if we can go and, film, have somebody explain it in their own words, but then also be able to cut away to actually exactly what they're talking about at the same time, it just helps to just demonstrate it so much better, and helps like the readers and the watchers to understand it better as well, I think, which you guys do really well with your videos. I think it helps to actually understand it better when you just see someone explain it and show it to you.
Yeah, visually it's so much easier to understand. Well, again, it comes back to the understanding of it, doesn't it? If I was to explain to you how it would work now, you'd probably sit there and go, yeah, I kind of get what you mean. But if you were to do it, this is something you always say, if you physically do it yourself, it makes so much more sense. And especially if you do it wrong.
Yeah.
Well, plus, there's lots of technology that you could be investing in. And if you see it actually working, you're like, okay, that's a good piece. Or you might look at it and be like, actually, it's not really quite my skill set, that maybe I should go down a different route, because I'm going to spend my whole time doing something that is not the best use of my time.
Yeah, trying to figure out how to work it.
Yeah. So we should really mention, I guess, as on the subject of the brilliant videos that you and David have put together, is that where is the best place for people to find the magazine, the videos?
That shebang. So the magazines, if you want to get on our kind of circulation list, if you want to have them sent to your office or wherever, at the moment the best way is to just drop us an email or give us a call and ask us to put you on the database. We've got a new website coming very soon, so that will make it all a lot more streamlined. And then the videos we upload onto our YouTube channel. So we operate under Print 7 and Sign 7. And then you can find them on YouTube under Print Monthly Magazine and Sign Link Magazine. And then all of the videos that we do get uploaded onto there. We also do an email newsletter that you can get subscribed to. Again, just give us an email with your email that you want to be sent to. And we're also on social media on LinkedIn, Twitter, Instagram, at Print Monthly and Sign Link. So just put that in and you can find us on all the usual channels.
Excellent.
We should probably mention as well the upcoming show that you have in September. If people want to, we'll talk a little bit more about it as well, because I know that obviously Andy's doing a bit of a talk there as well. But if people want to get registered for that, where can they do that?
So our sister company to Print Monthly and Sign Link Exhibitions runs the print show, which is the UK's only print show dedicated to print in the UK. But so you can just go on the website printshow.co.uk. You can register for free on there. And if you are on our database already, we have got a team of registration people that will be ringing and asking if people want to register for tickets.
Yeah, it should be a nice, exciting event. It seems like ages since at a trade show. So myself and Molly will be there on the Tuesday. So as I mentioned, I'll be doing a talk at 3:00. So anyone that's listening today that is brand new to garment decorating and is thinking about maybe adding this in, I'll be doing a talk at 3:00 on the Tuesday, talking about how easy it is to add garment decoration in and some ideas for approaching customers, and also give you some actual costings in terms of what is kind of traditional costings of t-shirts, hoodies, workwear, all sorts of things. So you can kind of have a bit more of a think about it, see if it's going to be worthwhile. But additionally, we'll be there pretty much all day. So if anyone wants to have a private chat with us or have a meeting of some sort, just contact us on other socials or LinkedIn, and we can arrange something and help people, and just come and say hello if you recognize one of us, and we'll more than happily talk about garment decorating for hours on end, all day,
every day.
But there's lots of other exciting talks going on. I know that there's a real education focus with the print show this year, which I think is really exciting. And there's a really good speaker lineup that's been put together for every day as well. So even if you can't make the Tuesday, there's lots and lots of value, a bit like the lots of value going on this year as well.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say, actually. Like we mentioned earlier, keeping your eyes out of what's going on and stuff. If there is any kind of garment decorators or printers that are interested in what other things there are out there that they could potentially move into, that's probably the perfect place to go, because like you said, the Speaker Knowledge Zone, it's called this year, formerly the Business Seminar Theatre. It's been rebranded by our lead contributor Rob, who has worked really hard on getting a really varied kind of schedule, and it's covering all sorts of things from like well-being, marketing, SEO, AI, all the kind of topics, the environment, and also getting the next generation of young people into the industry as well. So FESPA UK Association is bringing their next generation panel to the show. So they're going to be talking about kind of how we can bring the next generation in, which is also a big topic at the moment, bridging that kind of aging workforce and, you know, getting skilled workers up and through. So there's going to be so many talks. You can find the full schedule on the print show website. And then also, I guess, just such a variety of exhibitors as well from all areas of the print industry. So we've got, you know, some of the big manufacturers like Fujifilm and Liu UK and that sort of thing. But then we've got all sorts of trade printers. We mentioned before about kind of leaning on those. There's so many different trade printers. There's, you know, print resellers where you can purchase kit from. Who have a variety of different manufacturers that you can go and chat to them about the differences. And then there's going to be all sorts of software companies there too, if you just wanted to find out a bit more about maybe some of the software you might need to know about if you were going to move into a different area. And then loads of kind of garment and textile people too. So there's all sorts of exhibitors there. So I guess it's a really good opportunity to familiarize yourself with the different areas if you are just curious about what options are out there. All in one place.
And obviously, if they got questions about, you know, especially those new starters, you know, there is a Print Monthly stand as well that they can come and ask you and the rest of the team questions about how to, you know, spend their day at the show. I think is quite an important thing. We always talk about that for shows we do, is actually, you know, doing your homework. You know, don't look at this stuff fresh on the day. Do your homework before you get there, plan your route. Make sure you have a hit list of people you want to speak to, so you can really maximize comfy shoes.
I always say.
Definitely.
And also, if there's anybody who maybe isn't familiar with the magazines or hasn't heard of it before, or has heard of it but hasn't seen or read one, on the Print Monthly stand at the show, we will be handing out free copies of the latest Print Monthly and Sign Link. So if you just want to have a browse, see if there's anything in there that is of interest, you can pick one of those up at the show as well. So, and we'll be there if you want to come and have a chat.
Yeah, absolutely. It should be. I'm very excited to come along for the day and see. It's been a while since I got to go to the print show, so it'd be good to see.
Before.
Have you not?
It'll be my first one. Yeah,
that's exciting.
I know.
It's always a good vibe there.
Yeah,
good buzz.
And that is at the NEC in Birmingham, and I think, is it 10 till 5, 10 till 4 each day? Something like that, more or less.
I would say. The exact times are on the website. Along with the floor plan, which is interactive, that's updated anytime somebody kind of comes on. So if you want to have a look at who's going to be there, there's all sorts of information about the NEC as a venue if you haven't been there before. All the information you need to know is on there. We also have, which is quite fun, some prizes that can be won. So you can register for free. And then you get sent a golden ticket, a physical golden ticket, which you bring with you to the show, post it through a little letterbox. And then 3 times, I believe, a day, we'll be giving out different prizes. So there's some TUI holiday vouchers, which would be good. And then there's some Amazon vouchers, some hampers and that sort of thing. So
excellent.
That's fun. That's different. I like that. Yeah, especially for a trade show, because I've never seen that before. That's such a good idea.
And there's a lot of exhibitors as well that are offering like their own kind of competitions and that sort of thing. I think I can't remember which company it is, but they've got a basketball hoop on their stand, so that's fun.
Oh, nice.
And then
we'll have to visit that one.
Make a little competition in-house.
I will practice beforehand.
So there'll be lots of, you know, in-show offers, lots of, you know, giveaways and goodies that there is. Always good to go around and see what you can get from a show. So fill your tote bag and that sort of thing. So so there'll be lots to do.
Oh, I'm excited. It's going to be fun.
Well, I think that's probably about time for today.
Yeah.
So I do thank you, Carys, for coming along today.
Yeah.
Is there any questions you have for us that you'd like answered before we wrap up?
Don't know really. Maybe you've already mentioned it, but maybe just about what we were saying earlier about, from your kind of point of view, what our readers maybe could gain from entering your side of the industry.
So kind of the short version is that, like I say, it's really easy to use a heat press. So if you want to do the garment decorating to go along with the signage, you literally just need a heat press. I mean, if you just, as a kind of like basic machinery, it's this. If you get a good quality one, and we always recommend Hottronics because they're the best. But you can go and check out our YouTube channel to kind of go in depth on every machine, because we have loads of product review videos on our website. But essentially, you need a machine that can control time, temperature, and pressure. And all you do is you put a t-shirt under it, or a hoodie, whatever the material it may be, a bag. Pre-press it for a few seconds because you want to make sure there's no moisture and it's nice and flat, nice warm surface. Then you put either some vinyl under there, so you could get, in the same way that you get printable vinyl for walls, you get it for clothing. We have a large range of printable vinyl ourselves that you can put on different material types. Or you can get single color vinyl, which again you can put through the existing cutting machines. So if you've got Rolands or Sumas, or if you just got like Graphtec or something like that, you can use all of our vinyl in these machines. So you've already got the biggest equipment, and you just put it under there for like 10 to 12 seconds at most. Peel it away, either hot or cold, depending on the instructions, and that's it. You've made the t-shirt that goes with it. Or if you don't have that type of machinery, or like you're doing very detailed stuff, like this is going to take me ages to weed, I can't justify doing this. We are, as part of the Styles, we are the largest manufacturer of heat transfers in the world. And what this means is, in that case, you just give us your artwork, and then we put it onto special paper, essentially, and it comes, you just pick up the paper, put it under the heat press, and it can be unlimited colors, unlimited detail. And it will outlast the garment from a wash quality point of view. So this is the best product available, and we deal with big and small customers from the likes of Barcelona Football Club, the NFL, the World CrossFit Games were out last weekend, through to someone who's just ordering one piece at a time. So same technology for everyone, but heat presses are easy to use. They go up, they go down. It's like you set the temperature and time and pressure settings correctly, they're easy. And it's a great way, average t-shirt costs between £2 and £4. Average transfer cost is probably like, if you're doing volume, it's like 10p. It could be 50p, it could be £1 if you're doing small runs. And then you could sell that t-shirt for £10 to £15. You could do a hoodie make it for £12, sell it for 20, even if it's just 15. Or hats, we have special hat presses. So hats are a really big profit product because they cost about £2 for a hat. 10 to 50p to decorate, and you can sell them between 15 and 40 pounds. So there's lots of the average order value. If you could get, think about how many people work in the building you're doing the signage for. It could be, even if it's just 3 people, that could be an extra £100 per order. But if it's the bigger ones where everyone wears a t-shirt or a polo shirt when they're operating these machines that you're selling to them, or the signage you're doing, is that it could be 50 people. There could be 1,000 people in that building, and it's not difficult to do the garment decoration for them. But if you are interested in learning more about that, I will be doing a talk at the print show, or alternatively, we're on YouTube, LinkedIn, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, TikTok,
I feel like we've just had
everywhere.
an insight into your talk for September.
It's tiny little insight.
That was like snippets from the speech.
That's a very short version, but we'll go into it in a lot of detail. And, if anyone's really, really interested in going really deep into it, on the 27th of September, we will be running a global virtual event called the Global Masterclass on apparel decoration. And this is going to be the biggest ever worldwide event on garment decorating.
That's an exclusive.
So this is something that no one actually knows about this yet, because we're at the time of recording, we're going to announce it tomorrow. But this is going to be a full day of education. So we're teaming up with Styles US and partners in Australia. So we're going to cover every continent, and we're going to bring in experts from blank companies, garment decorators, ourselves, obviously. But it's going to be a full 7-8 hour day of really strong talk after talk after talk.
Really
So-
leveling up your business.
Really level up your business. So it's going to be a big event. So get a bit of a taster for at the print show, and then you can follow up the week after with a really big event that we're going to be running.
Exciting times.
Yeah, that is exciting.
Yeah. So and you can register for that at stylesmasterclass.com. That'll be linked live.
Yeah, that's an important part.
Yeah.
We need that bit.
But thank you to Molly and thank you to Carys.
Thank you very
Really
much.
appreciate that. Thank you everyone
Thanks
for
for having
listening. Don't forget to like and subscribe and join us again next week.